everyone, and welcome to this week's tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how I made my beautiful cupcake hat pins that I made for a swap at Art Attack's Facebook group for the Sweet Thanks swap. So let's get started. Okay, first we're going to start off with the different polymer clays that I'm going to use to make the cupcake. First we have the beige color Sculpey color clay that I like to use for the cupcake area. I keep it in a little bag to keep it a little fresher, even though it does not dry out. And the next thing I have is the 10 color Sculpey 3. It comes with 10 different colors, and it comes different sets, and I bought like a couple sets, but this is a set that I'm going to be using for the bottom of the cupcake. Plus, I'm also going to be using this one also for the frosting. I'll be using the blue and the pink. Also, you will need a nice bristled brush to give texture to the cupcake area, which is the cake area, and I like to use this, which is really good for texturing. Here is the refills for those box blades, box cutting blades. I like to use that to cut into my clay. And here are some tools that I have that I like to use on my clays. Also, you'll be needing a nice cute little brush that I'm going to use to color my clay, and I like to use some soft pastels, and here are the ones that I use by Boney. I got this at Walmart. Also, I'm going to show you how to use toothpicks. How there's a lot of people don't have the tools, so I'll be showing you how to use that. Here I also have a frosting tip. I'm showing you that I bought it for this, but I'm not going to use it because it didn't work out for me. The tip is too thin. So here are also the hat pins that I use to make my hat pins, stick pins, how you want to call them. And I got these stick pins at, I'm going to show you now, Memories and Pastimes and Etsy shop. You could get those. Okay, so here I have formed my 3 color clays in 3 little balls, and I'm going to be using the pink, the blue, and the beige. Okay, here first I grabbed the blue ball and I started rolling it up into more of a ball formation, just so it could be easier and I could work better with it to form it. So I get my index finger and I start rolling towards the bottom of the ball, so it could start looking thinner at one part and thicker in the other part, kind of like a funnel look or tornado look, you can say it like that. Thinner at the bottom, thicker at the top. I start pressing at it at a flat surface so it could flatten out at the bottom, so it could give it like the bottom part of the form of the cupcake, and you can see it's already looking like the cupcake wrapper. So here I'm just pressing it a little bit more to flatten it out just a little bit, and I like to use sometimes some of my tools just to flatten it out, just to give it more of a lean, chic, flat look. So here I'm just taking out any bumps or cracks that's in the clay, and what I do now is that we want to flatten the top as well. So what I do now is I get one of my knives, which are the refills of the box cutter knives, and I just turn it to the side and cut out a small piece. You know, I try to eyeball it just to make sure it's at a good size, and I start looking at it to make sure it's nice and flat and even all the way around, and I start flattening it out a little bit again with my little clay tool. So I start shaping it up a little bit to make sure everything is nice, and I look at it, as you can see here, and to make sure it has the accurate shape that I need. Now I'm using this tool to give the little ridge effect that cupcake wrappers usually have. So I start from up, down, up, down. I don't slide on the clay, I just press slightly on the clay. Because if you slide on the clay, what it will do is that it will take some of the clay out. You don't want that to happen. So you just go from an angle. Now, I am also going to show you how to do this if you don't have this tool, how to create these ridges using a toothpick. And it's the same way as from up and down, just pressing firmly until you get the nice ridgy look on the cupcake. this is the way of making a beautiful cupcake liner without any molds, as you can see here. You can see all the cute ridges. Okay, now for the top part. Now I have my beige ball and I'm rounding it off and giving it a little bit more formation. It already is rounded here in a ball, but I like just to warm up the clay a little. It makes it easier to work with and it makes it more flexible. So I couple my hand and I firmly press with my thumb down to my hand so it could give the bottom part flat and the top part round. It looks like if it was a cookie, like a disc, like a round disc. I put it on top of the bottom part to make sure it fits as I want it to. Then I start smoothing out any lines that was marked from my hand. So that way when I do the texturing with the texturing tool, it won't look, you can't barely see the lines. Some always stay, but it works to, it helps to smooth it out a little bit. So here I have my texturing tool, which is one of those brushes, and I just keep brushing and brushing until I get the texture to give it more realistic cake look to the top part of my cupcake. After I'm done with all the texturing, I start getting my pastels so I can start mixing in the colors that I need to start coloring in the clay to give it of a more realistic cake look to it. So what I do is I get like a little lid that I get from any jar that I have laying around, and I start scraping a little bit with my little knife on top inside the lid the colors. Start scraping a little bit of each color. That way it makes it easier for me to apply to the clay. So I used the brown, the yellow, and I think the orange. Yeah, that's the one that I used, the orange. And I just scrape a little bit of each color. Then I get the little bristle, the one that I showed you at the beginning of the video, to start brushing in the pastels on my little cake part. So I clean my area because of course you could get this clay, the pastels are everywhere. And then there's the brush that I was talking about earlier. And I just get it and I start applying the pastels. Okay, here is the final result. I'm just adding a little bit more of the areas. I didn't put any of it, but look how it looks. It gives it such a realistic baking, like it just came freshly out of the oven. So now what are we gonna do? I'm brushing away my area to clean my area because this gets everywhere. You have to clean your hands really well because if you don't, it's going to get all over the other colors of the clay. Okay, so now I'm grabbing my bottom and the top, or the cake area, and I'm putting it on top my cake liner, or the cupcake liner, to see if it fits well. And also I was pressing on it to make sure that it stays put. So you can see here it's already looking like a cupcake. You can see the bottom and the top layer together, and look how adorable that looks. Now here we have my pink little ball for the frosting. Now I'm going to show you how I make the frosting. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to start rolling it into the ball to give a better formation, to make sure it's nice and round. And then I just grab the tips of my fingers or the bottom part of my fingers and start rolling and rolling until I get a long strip. Now, like I mentioned before, you gotta make sure your hands are clean when you're doing this, because we don't want no other color on our frosting. We want a nice clean color and look to our frosting. So you keep rolling it out and rolling it out. Make sure you try your best to make sure that your little roll or your little strip that you're rolling out is even though this is gonna go round it off on top of the cupcake, but we want to make sure that we try, to get it sleek. Now this tool, how it has like a lot of ridges on it, it's like a scallop tool. What I do is I just pass it along, as you just see here, across the whole entire strip to see if it gives it that, the frosting look. Like how my little piping tip it was too small and too narrow. So I decided to go with my own invention, especially this is a great idea. Now this whiteout, look at the lid. It has small little ridges on it, and this is perfect for that. And you just pass it along, and look at the ridges even look better than the tool that I was using. I just love using this because the ridges are really thin and together, and I love the look that it gives. And this, I'm pretty sure anybody has this in the house. If you have a lid for like a toothpaste lid, it has that like the same ridging on it, it'll work just as well. And this is why I wanted to make this video, so I could show you all the different techniques and tools that you have at your house already if you don't have the tools that are made for this kind of stuff. And look at the ridging on it. Okay, it came out really nice, and it gave the lines that I needed to make my frosting for my cupcake. Now I'm gonna grab my little strip, and I'm gonna get my little cupcake, and now I'm gonna start applying or putting the little frosting on here. So what I do is I get the little tip and I just try to squeeze it and just spread it a little bit on top of the cake so it could give it stability or stick to the cake part, so that way it won't come off when I am trying to put the frosting on. So the first layer is always the most difficult part. You want to start twisting it a little bit if you wish, to just get it to look more twisty of the frosting. So you keep going around and around. You keep looking at the sides to see if it's looking like you want it to look. And then you keep doing the little round, like if it was like a little ice cream machine and you're swirling the ice cream inside the cone. This is pretty much the technique that you want to do here. You want to swirl it on, just go around and around, and then I just take off, and when I get to the tip I take off the excess off, and then I try to form this little tip. See how it's looking? It's already looking like frosting on here. So, and then now I grab the little tip and I try to sharpen it up and make it look nice and sharp at the point, so I could give it more of that tip look. When you're done frosting something and it gives off that little tip on the top, that's what I want to do. So I keep shaping it and shaping it until it's at its point. I took off a little bit more because I felt like the point was too big, so I started shaping it again. And if you feel, right here I'm off frame, sorry about that, but if you feel like because of you trying to get it all comfortable and you take off the little bit of the ridge, just get your little whiteout bottle and just pass it, and it should give it the line look again. So here's my little cupcake. Look how beautiful and cute it looks. It's just adorable. Our cupcake is done. So what I want to do now is that I want to give it a little bit of something. You know, we just put sprinkles or something on top of our little cupcake. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Okay, I decided to go with the micro beads, the lavender ones that I have from Martha Stewart, to put on top of my cupcake for decor. I'm gonna use glossy accents to put on the micro beads on the little cupcake. So the first thing I'm going to do is apply the glossy accents sporadically throughout the top or the frosting of the cupcake, because I don't want to cover the whole entire frosting with the micro beads. Just want to give it like some here and some there, so it could look realistic. I get a little lid, something that I could spill my little micro beads in. It's like I'm doing like the little jimmies, you know how they get that's what it feels like here. But look at the results. It looks beautiful. I love it and adore it. So I grab my micro beads, put it back. That's why it's the best way to do it, like this. And now that I'm ready, I got here my hat pin all ready. It's a 6-inch hat pin, and it comes with a little tip to, like, the little cover to cover the tip. And this is perfect, and I like it because it's sturdy, because you can do so much with these stick pins. So here, what I did is I got a little seed bead, a red one, so I could use as a cherry. So I get my hat pin or stick pin, and I add a little bit of glossy accents on the top of the hat pin, the flat part, of course. So I'm going to put just a little dab, that's it, as you can see here, because we want that seed bead to stick very well on our hat pin, even though the cupcake is not going to move from there. So now, as you can see here, look at it. Perfect. So now I'm going to try to do it slowly, because we want the tip to come out at the bottom in the middle, because if it comes out sideways or somewhere else, your cupcake is going to look like sideways. And here is the result. And now our little cupcake is ready for the oven. Okay, so here I just took the cupcake out of the oven. It's all nice and cooled, and here is the final result to this lovely cupcake. Look how nice it looks on this hat pin, and it's all ready for all the beading that I'm going to put on it. Okay, so here is our stick pin, and I glued all the pearls, the bead caps and spacers with glossy accents, and this is the final result. I hope you all enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope I was really helpful in how to make this beautiful cupcake stick pin. If you have any questions, please leave me in the comments section below, or you could write me at my email, and which will be available in the description box below. I want to thank you all for your support, and I hope you really enjoyed, because I really enjoyed making this for you. So if you have any ideas or suggestions on any new projects or tutorials you would wish for me to make, please let me know. I will be placing or putting some photos at the end of this video so you can see a closer look of the final result. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and you have a beautiful night. God bless. Bye bye.